other things that I want to show you is how to make a wristband, which is, or some people call them cuffs. And this is another example of what one could look like, which is the same as the watch band. The watch band and the wristbands to me are the same thing. The only thing you're doing is that you're taking a watch face and you're adding a watch face to the wristband. Now that's the same as if you was doing this piece here. And this particular shape here, this is the pattern right here. We just come up with our own pattern, our own shape, and we would take a watch face, which we will go out, we will buy the watch with the watch band on it, or you can buy it, it's just the face itself. And what we will do, we will basically just cut the band off. We just cut the band off. And then we would take the leather, which is the watch keeper, and put it through here. And then we will mount it onto the cuff or wristband or watch band, whichever way you prefer to call it. That's how simple this is. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how to make a watch band slash cuff. If I was going to wear this is what this would look like. Okay, to give you an idea of how to get started, first thing you want to do is that you want to take a measurement of the wrist. Now my wrist is 6.5 inches. Okay, my wrist is 6.5 inches. So in order for the band to fit my wrist and to fit it properly, what I need to do, I need to add a 1/2 inch. So which means that from this snap right here to this snap right here, which is these two snaps, are the one that will determine how it's going to fit, which will be the first snap here and the first snap here. That will determine the fit of the band. So what I'm doing is that my wrist is 6.5 inches. So I am making from this snap to this snap 7 inches. So what I will do, I will have my wrist size is 6.5 inches. The way it's going to fit me and fit me properly the way I want it to fit. So my fit is 7 inches. Now from tip to tip, what I want to do is I'm going to make it 9 inches. That's from tip to tip. I'm going to make it 9 inches. So from here to here is 9 inches. That would allow me to put a second and a third snap if I want to put a third snap. Okay, now once you have your wrist size, mine is a 6.5, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 2.5 inch to that, which will give me my tip to tip, which is going to make it 9 inches. Okay, now that we have the measurements of how long we need for it to be, which is 9 inches long, tip to tip, now you will determine how wide that you want your wristband to be / watch band. This one is, I think it's an inch. This is an inch and a half wide. This one here is an inch and 3/4 wide. So it just determines on what you like or what you want. So what I'm going to do now, since this band here is just straight, well, I don't even need to make a pattern for this. I just need to know how wide I want it and how long I want it. So what I'm going to do is that I am going to cut a piece of leather to make my band. Now the other thing that can determine how wide you want your band, it can be the watch face itself. Is how big the watch face is. This watch face is a little bigger than this one, so you know what, I could put this on an inch and 3/4 and it will look fine. This one, it will still be okay, but I would probably put this on like a inch and a half watch band. So it really just depends on what you want and what you like. So right now what we're going to do, we're going to cut a leather strip that is going to be an inch and a half wide and 9 inches long. So what we have here, we have a piece of leather, and most of the time when you start to cut, you're not going to start with a straight edge. This already have a straight edge on it, but I'm going to turn it this way just to kind of show you what you will do when you do not have a straight edge. So what I will do is that I will cut to start off with the straight edge. Now that I have my straight edge, I am going to measure out an inch and a half. I got my inch and a half measured out. Now that I have my inch and a half measured out, now what I need is 9 inches. So I want to measure out 9 inches. Now that I have my 9 inches measured out, my watch face is going to fit on like this. But in order for the watch face to stay on, I need a keeper. So what I will do, see, do I like this one better? What I will do is I will take my watch face, and what I'm going to do is that I'm going to measure from post to post, inside of the post, and that will determine the width of my my keeper. And I normally cut out the keepers about 3 inches long. If I need to cut some off, I can. So what I'll do, I'll measure in between the post, which is 3/4 of an inch wide. So what I will do now, I will cut out I'm going to cut me a straight line here. There's my straight line. Now I need 3/4 of an inch. So I cut out 3/4 of an inch. And I take this and this will fit into here. But I only need for that keeper to be about 3 inches. I want to cut it 4 inches, and then I can cut it back. So I'm going to cut a second one. Second one at 3/4 of an inch wide. And then I would cut it the same length of the first. Cut the same length of the first one. So now that I have my keepers, which will go on like this. Now just keep in mind, this one was kind of tight to go in. These pins here, you can take the pins out, but you have to be very careful when you take the pins out because they're spring loaded. So you want to take your finger and put it here, so when you take it out, your finger will be there just in case it shoots out. It'll keep you from losing it, and trust me, you will lose it. So I can take the pin out, and I can put the keeper in, put the pin back in, and reset that. See, that's been reset. Now, this is going to be the watch band. But what we have to do is that we have to put a secondary piece of leather on the back to give it some body. Right now, if you make a band out of that, it's too soft. And by giving it some body, it will give it a better feel, it will give it a finished look. So what we will do is glue this to a second piece of leather. And the glue that we're going to use a water-based glue. And basically what we're going to do, I'm just going to glue this. Then I'm going to glue the secondary We'll give that a couple of minutes to dry, and then we'll cut it out, and then we will cut the tips on the keeper. And one other thing I want to show you is a lot of the times you may have to change out your batteries. The batteries you can order on Amazon or somewhere local. And it's very simple. A lot of people will go and have their battery replaced, and they'll charge you about $14 to replace the battery, and you should be able to get these batteries for a pack of 8 for maybe $3, or from $3 to $4. So do the math. So basically what you'll do to change out your battery, you can just take like a knife and pop open the back. I always take a cloth and use it to protect my hand. Just pop open the back. There's your battery right there. You can just pull this up, pop this out, and then just put the battery in. That's how simple this is. Put this back on. Look for that little gap in your cap that fits over that pin. And just put it back on. That's it. That's how you replace your battery. Okay, now this is dry. I'm going to just cut this out. Okay, that's your band right there. This is it. But to finish it up, what we're going to do, we're going to edge coat it. We're going to stitch it. We're going to cut the tips on the watch keeper. Stitch them. You don't have to stitch them. And even if you don't have a sewing machine, with this, you don't have to stitch this. If you don't have a sewing machine, but we're going to stitch it to give it a finished look, and then we will put the snaps on, and this will be finished. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut the tips of the keepers. So what I'll do, I'll cut the first tip. What that does, that gives me a finished look. So now I'll cut the second one. Line this up to make sure that both of them are the same size. Okay, now that we have these cut, now we will go and edge coat. Okay, now that we have the tips cut on the keepers, and we have the band cut out. We're going to edge coat the band and the two keepers. I'm going to use brown edge coat to finish out the edges. Okay, now that we have those completed, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to sew around the band and also around the keeper. And like I say, if you don't have a sewing machine, you do not have to sew it. Oh, forgot one other thing. One other thing we're going to do, we're going to put Mod Podge all the way around to give it a good shiny finish. Okay, we're going to go ahead and put the Mod Podge on. This will give it a nice finish. Okay, now that we have the band finished as far as the edge coating and Mod Podge, now we will stitch around the band. Now that we have the band stitched, now we can start putting it together. Okay, now that we have the watch band cut out and sewn, we're going to put the snaps on. Then we're going to also put the keepers onto the watch. So what we'll do, we'll put the keeper onto the watch face. Now what I'm going to do I'm going to use a little contact cement glue. And basically what I'm going to do is just put a little glue in here to hold it, to hold these together. So when I get ready to punch the holes, I don't have to worry about trying to keep them in place. So what I'll do, I'll just use just a little contact cement to hold it in place. So I'll just take this. This will hold, it'll hold those in place. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to punch the hole. So what I normally do is I would take my punch. I don't want to go too close to my thread. So I'll go maybe about 1/4 of an inch from my thread. I'll put a mark, and then after that what I want to do is that I want to put my next mark, which will be 5/8 of an inch from that mark. So what I'll do, I'll make my second mark. And what these two marks are for, I'm going to punch holes, which is where I'm going to put these two parts of the snap. This part is what I call the head. I'm sorry, this part is what I call the cap. This part is what I call the head, and the cap snaps onto the head. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to punch the two holes for the cap. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to take, now each part of the snap, which is the cap and the head, each part have two parts. Now for the cap, it have two parts. This is one part that goes in from the top, which is this part here. The other part goes up on the back side, which is this part here. I will use a hand press, press it down, and then I would do the second one. Press this down. Now, because my measurement was 6.5 inches, and I add 1/2 inch to that, which makes it 7 inches. So I need to make my snaps, well, place my snaps 7 inches apart, which will be this snap here and this one here. These are the two will determine the size of the wristband or watch band and how it would fit. So what I will do, I will measure 7 inches. I'll measure 7 inches, which will be from this snap here down to 7 inches. So I will put my first mark there, and then I will go 5/8 from that mark. And the reason why I'm going 5/8 is because that's so these two will match up with the 3 snaps that I put here. If I want to adjust it, I can adjust it, and each snap will match up together because they will be the same distance apart. So I'm going to put my second mark, and then I will put my third mark. I'm going to punch my holes. So now what I will do, I will put on the head, which will be this part here. So I would take the post, put it in from the back side. And I'm going to use the hand press. Now keep in mind, these two hand presses are the same. There's no different in them other than the die that I'm using. And you only need one hand press. We have more than one because we teach as classes. So I'm going to use the hand press with this particular die because it's for this part of the snap. I press that down. I'll do the next one. Press it down. I'll do the next one. Press it down. That's the band, and this will be the face that will go on. Now what I normally do, I will take the 12 hand on the watch and I will put it in the direction of the folds of the strap. Okay, now I'm going to punch the holes for the keeper. Now what I do is I don't want to be too close to this pin, so I'll go maybe about 1/4 inch from that pin, and I don't want to be too close to the tip of the keeper, so I'll go maybe 1/4 inch from the tip of the keeper. I'll do the same thing on this side, and then I'll punch the holes. Now I'm going to use rivets, double caps rivets, and these are mediums. I'm going to readjust this hole here and bring it over to center it. I'll put the post in, which is the post end, from the top side. And then I would take that. Now when you install the face onto the wristband, you don't want to do it while it's open like this, because if you do it while it's open, when you close it, it's going to pull these pins real tight and it will pull them out of the watch. So that's why you want to make sure that it's closed. And I'll just take it, bend it over like this, and I'll make sure it's centered. The center of the watch is centered here. And I'll take it, I'll press down on the rivets just to get an imprint. Once I have my imprints, I want to make sure that they're pretty much centered the watch band. So I'm going to bring this over a little more, I'll punch the holes, punch this hole. Once I have these two holes punched, then I will put the rivet inside the hole. Put a cap on the back, put this one in, put a cap on the back, and now what I will do, I will make sure that this is lined up You know what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring this hole here over some. It's not centered. I'll just bring this over some. Put the cap back on. Now what I'll do, I'll punch these two holes. Put the rivet in. Put a cap on the back. Put the rivet in. Put a cap on the back. And now what I'll do is that I will close this. This is the same hand press. Only thing is different is the die. So like I said, we have several of these because we teach this class. You only need one. So I'll turn this over. Press down. Close this one. Close this one. Close this one. And now this is your watch band. I would like to thank everyone for watching the videos that we produce. And if you have not, please go and subscribe to our video. And if you know someone else that would like to see these videos or are trying to learn how to work with leather, pass the video on to them. And also, the other thing that I'm doing is I'm working on a video on tools to show you how to use the tools and where to purchase the tools. So just stay tuned for the next video. It's coming soon. Thank you for watching.